this is Belinda. I'm here today to share my second project for the month of July as part of the Cut to You design team. Today I'm going to be using one of the Kit to You products. Now, Kit to You is something that is relatively new. Gwen started offering these in January of 2020, and it's a little bit different to your standard cut file. So what you get with the Kit to You product is you will be purchasing, it's an exclusive cut file. So the cut files in the Kit to You section, which I have linked down below in the description box for you, they are exclusive to these kits. And what you get is not just the cut file, but you also get a really comprehensive set of PDF instructions on how to create a layout which has already been designed. All of the work has been done for you. All of the papers have been selected. The embellishments have been chosen. So if you wanted to, you can just pick this up, take the PDF, take the instructions, gather your supplies, and it's a really simple, easy, fun way to get some quick layouts put together because all the guesswork and all the design work has been done for you. So in the PDF, you do get lots of really good quality pictures. This is printed just on regular printer paper, so the quality that you'll see on your screen is much better than what you see here on my printing. You get lots of high quality images. You get a product list. So Gwen goes through and tells you the specific products that she's used to create her layout. But also, if you're wanting to get into a little bit of stash busting for yourself, she also includes a section here where she provides you with information on the products that you can select from your stash to create a similar looking layout. She then goes into some really comprehensive step-by-step instructions on how to create the layout that she has put together for the Kit to You product. Now, as with all the products in the Cut to You store, if you don't have an electronic die cutting machine, you can also order your cut files as a custom cut. So Gwen will cut those on some really nice, good quality white cardstock, and she'll ship them to you anywhere in the world. So if you like any of the products in the Kit to You section or in the Cut to You store, but you don't have a digital die cutting machine or an electronic die cutting machine, you can order them custom cut for you. And I think that's a really great option because not everybody has these die cutting machines, and it is super popular right now. So I just wanted to quickly show you, I did go ahead and I made the layout that's on that features on this particular Kit to You product, which is and I'm having a memory blank here, I believe it's the String Art Circle kit is what I used. And as you can see here, I have chosen to use something from my stash. So this was using one of the newer crate paper collections. I believe it's called Magical Forest. So you can see I've pretty much copied this. I followed the instructions, and it's fantastic. It's a great layout. It's a really quick and easy way to get something documented. But that's not what I'm here to show you today. Here I am going to show you how I used the negative from this cut file to create a brand new layout. When I finished cutting that string art cut file out onto my white cardstock and I was left with the negative on my adhesive mat, it was just such a gorgeous design. The negative was just so gorgeous that I knew that I wanted to use it to create a brand new layout, and bonus is that it eliminates a little bit of wastage. So I'm going to use that negative, or what was left over from cutting out that string art. I've gone ahead off camera and I've added some hand stitching around the border and around each of the pieces, and yes, even around each of these tiny little pieces which will go around the circle here, which will all slot in. I've done some hand stitching because I'm not that handy with a sewing machine and I like the look of hand stitching, but if you wanted to recreate this at home, of course you don't need to do that. If you wanted to, you could just grab your pen and do some pen stitches around the edges. But what I did before I actually did the stitching, and I'm going to hold this up and hopefully you'll see it on camera, is I went and I held the original cut file down on my paper and I just traced around it just to help me know where to place each of those pieces. And the other thing I've done is I have gone and I have numbered each of the back of these pieces because they are slightly different in, not all of them are slightly different in size, but there are some slightly different sizes as we move around the circle. So I wanted to make sure that I was placing those down in the right place. So that is what I am doing with the cut file. As I lay everything down and start to adhere it down, it should make some more sense. I'm documenting this photo of my husband and I on a little date that happened earlier in the year in 2020, and I'm using the Felicity Jane Sarah kit, which I have had in my stash, to bring this all together. So let's hop on fast forward and see how this layout comes together. Thank you for sticking with me through that rather lengthy intro. There was just a lot of information that I wanted to share with you about those Kit to You products. But here we are getting stuck into creating this layout. So I'm starting off, I am popping up the larger pieces of this cut file on some foam tape. And you can see that gigantic roll of foam tape there. That's come from a local hardware store that we have in Australia called Bunnings. It's picture mounting tape and it is acid free. It's a really nice low profile, which is something that I'm definitely more keen to look for in my projects at the moment, because I'm conscious of the amount of bulk that I'm adding and how quickly my albums are going to get filled up. So I've left this in here just so that you can see and I can talk you through what the next stage of my process is going to be. I'm just trimming down. I'm not covering the entire piece with foam, just enough to make sure that it is popped up a little bit and there's no pieces that will sag. So once I've pulled the backing off these, I am going to go back in and add just a little bit more because there were some sag points, some points where it was starting to dip down. This larger backing piece, it didn't go on completely straight, but that's okay. We're okay with that. So, as I said, I am putting the foam adhesive onto these larger pieces, but then when it comes time for me to adhere the smaller little pieces that fill in the center of that circle, you will see me start to do that in a moment. I don't add any adhesive foam to those, and the reason for that is the thread from my hand stitching has actually added a little bit of dimension behind each of those tiny pieces. It's not quite as high as the foam tape, but it's high enough that it helps them to pop off the page and just gives the effect that I was looking for, a little bit of dimension and a really slight shadow against that beautiful floral background. So I do use my wet adhesive, which if you are interested is the Art Glitter Glue with the fine tip. And you're going to see me do that to just, I think, one or two of these pieces. And then I switched the camera off and finish it off camera because you don't need to see that. And you also don't need to see the back of my head, which was featured really prominently as I was trying to get over to get those pieces in place. So that's it. Everything is now stuck down and it is looking really good. It's not completely dry because I just wanted to get stuck into finishing off or finishing creating this layout. Looking at it here, you can't really see that large background is slightly off center, but it is. It's not enough to bother me too much, so I'm okay with that. The rest of the layout, because I wanted that cut file to really be the standout, and because it did take quite a lot of time to hand stitch those, I wanted the rest of the layout to be fairly simple. So I'm just going to add some photo mats here to the back of my photo. I have printed it in black and white. It was quite a dark photo, so I've printed it in black and white and then just played with the exposure and the highlights a little bit. And you can see I've created a full yellow mat or full mat with that yellow piece of patterned paper. And then I'm going to trim down this script paper and also that pink polka dot paper that you can see off to the left here. And I'm going to slightly offset these pieces. And when I turned that paper over, I saw the minty green stripe on the back side, and I decided that I wanted to use that as a photo mat as well. If you have watched any of my previous videos, you may have noticed that I tend to scrap somewhat monochromatically. I don't know what it is. It's not that I'm necessarily drawn to it. I'm just a little bit nervous about mixing colors and having them clash or not coordinate. So including multiple colors in my layouts is not something that I'm entirely comfortable with. But when I'm working with a kit like this one here, I know that the work has already been done for me. The colours are going to coordinate because that's part of the design work that the company has put in to make sure that all of the pattern papers and all of the colours and all of the patterns, that they do coordinate. They don't match, but they do coordinate. So it has helped me to step outside my comfort zone a little bit and try and mix some different colours onto my layout, so I'm not always working so monochromatically. So for my journaling, I grabbed 2 of the 3x4 cards from the kit. One just says notes up the top, and the other one is just like a plain yellow kind of filler card. And I'm going to layer them up one on top of the other, and I decided to just notch the edges of those so that they're almost like a tag. And that back one, you're really not going to see much of the yellow at all. It's just a nice little mat behind the white journaling card to help it stand out against the white background. And bringing out my trusty little distressing tool just to add a light bit of distressing around the outside layers of that photo, just to, again, give it a bit more dimension. Now, this isn't in really great focus because I wanted to zoom in so that you could see, because the stamps were quite small. When I finished typing out my journaling, there was one line left at the bottom of that journal card, and I didn't want to leave it empty, so I decided to grab the stamp set from the kit and just add a little bit of stamping down the bottom. I was testing out some colours there, and I'm going with a dusty pink rose, which is a really old ink that I've had in my collection. I can't remember what they're called. They're the little square ones. And that says choose happy. And then there was this gorgeous little heart outline stamp as well. So I've added that in pink. And then I'm also going to use the yellow, which is an Ali Edwards ink. It's from her latest ink release. And I'm going to layer that over the top. And that will finish off that little journal card. My title was really simple to put together. The kit came with a whole bunch of puffy words in a script font, so I've selected the word happy, which is in a really nice salmony pink. Salmon, is that what we'd call it? I think so. And then there are these chipboard letters which are white with a black stripe across them, and so I'm just spelling out happy days. This photo was taken on a lunch date with my husband when he was home on leave from work for a month at the start of the year. We had one child-free day a week, and we spent those days going to the gym together in the morning, coming home, having a shower, and then going out for a really nice chilled out casual little lunch before picking up the kids for the afternoon dinner, bath, bedtime rush. So it's just really nice to spend that time together. We didn't really get to do a lot of dating, or any dating really, before we had kids with our story. So it's nice to do these things together when we can. So what you're seeing me use here is the cover from the paper pack. It is a nice, it's not as smooth as the cardstock cards that the paper that's in the pattern paper pack, but it has these little strips, which is the samples of all the papers that are in the pack. And I decided that I wanted to trim those down. I think they're about an inch wide, and I'm going to use them as embellishment pieces on my layout. So first of all, I'm cutting out this little pink scallop, and I think I do go and cut the yellow scallop, but I don't end up using it. Just fussy cutting it out there with my scissors. Which incidentally, now that I think about it, I've had these Cutter-Bee scissors for a little while, not too long, and I've just recently noticed that the tips don't meet at the ends anymore. And I was curious as to whether that's something that other people have experienced, or if it's just lucky me with my scissors. If you have experienced that and there is a fix, you know of a fix for it, please leave me a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear it, rather than buying another pair. So I've tucked that little pink scallop in between the two journal cards, again, just to add a little bit of definition and to bring a little bit of pink into that part of the layout there. I've also got them held together with a really soft pink paper clip, but the paper clip doesn't stay. I could probably put it back on, but I don't know. I just felt like it was just sitting there with nothing else attached to it. So you can see I've now trimmed down those strips from the cover of the pattern paper pack, and I've notched the edges to make them into little banners. And I'm going to create a couple of little banner clusters, one at the top right of the page and one just to the left of my photo. So I'm layering them up, and with the green stripe, the minty green stripe, in both of my little banner clusters, I actually cut that minty green striped banner in half and tuck half in on each end of the little cluster. So I'm really trying hard. At the start of the year, I promised myself that I made a commitment to myself to try to become a little bit more efficient in my scrapbooking and to be a little bit faster in my scrapbooking. And one of the things that I know that I need to do is to stop fussing and to stop overthinking what I'm doing. So I am really trying as much as I can to just stick things down now. And I did do that mostly with this layout, and it is a layout that I am so happy with. I think it's so pretty. It's quite simple but also very detailed, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm just trimming off the top edge of those banners because I have matted the whole, because there is that mat there. I didn't want them hanging over the edge, so I've just used my scissors to trim the top off. And you can see just to the right hand side there, I've got one of the die cut labels from the kit, and I stamped out my date onto a piece of white paper and cut it out, and I've just adhered it to the top. And now I'm grabbing some of these gorgeous florals that came in the die cut ephemera pack, and I'm just tucking them in a few different places around the layout, around my photo, just to bring the eye back to that again. And then for a little bit of repetition, I'm going to stick that date label up on the top cluster and then tuck the little flower in underneath. And you don't see me do that on camera because all you would have seen was the back of my head, so I've edited that out. And now to finish off this layout, the kit came with these really pretty little enamel coloured dots, and of course they coordinate with all the papers and the embellishments. And what I really liked about these ones is that they were slightly translucent. So if you are a fan of Nuvo drops, as I am fast becoming, they have a finish that is similar to the Nuvo jewel drops. So they're slightly translucent and they give that really pretty, almost like water droplet like effect once they're on. So I'm just doing my best to not think too much as I go and scatter these around the page. I'm using a mixture of the soft pink, the mustardy yellow and the mint green, and in a couple of different sizes just to vary it up. So I'm filling in the gaps and then just adding some in to help the eye move around the page. And that's it for this layout. It was really fun to put together and I absolutely love how it looked. I do hope that you'll go ahead and check out the Kit to You products in the Cut to You store. They are really great to work with. So as always, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a great day.